Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to completely dismantle what might be the industry's most trusted illusion, the site activation checklist in cell and gene therapy. If you manage clinical trials in the CGT space, you already know these protocols are incredibly complex. But we're going to expose a massive operational gap, a blind spot that's literally costing sponsors time, money, and frankly, potentially patient outcomes.
Picture this scenario for a second. Your site activation is officially complete. The green light is on. Imagine your CRA, your clinical research associate, did absolutely everything perfectly. The regulatory binder, complete. Training logs, fully signed. But your first patient slot is 3 weeks away, and nobody has even confirmed if the apheresis unit can actually accommodate your scheduling window. The checklist passed with flying colors, but the harsh reality: the site is absolutely not ready to run your trial. No way.
So let's dive right into this crucial paradigm shift. Activation simply means the site has the right documents. It exists on paper. It's a compliance milestone. Readiness, on the other hand, means it actually has the operational muscle to run your specific, highly complex CGT trial. It's an operational state. Right now, the industry has built this massive system that confidently confirms the first, but completely ignores the second.
Why the checklist fails. To solve this critical gap, we first need to understand the fundamental design flaw that makes this highly trusted tool fail sponsors so spectacularly.
Well, the stark reality is that the standard activation checklist was never even designed for cell and gene therapy. It was built for conventional oncology. We're talking phase 2 solid tumor trials, standard infusion chairs, familiar pharmacy workflows where clinical complexity is, relatively contained. CGT simply inherited this outdated checklist, and honestly, nobody bothered to redesign it for an environment where the operational complexity is just off the charts.
And looking at this really hits the nail on the head. The checklist covers those familiar compliance steps: IRB approval, binder completeness, signed protocol pages. But it completely glosses over the real-world operational logistics needed to actually pull off a CGT trial. It doesn't check if the apheresis schedule interfaces with your manufacturing calendar. It ignores whether the specialty pharmacy has cold chain logistics aligned to your specific product release window, or if their EHR system can even handle your biomarker data capture. It's like checking the paint job on a car, but forgetting to look under the hood.
The 4 readiness gaps. So what exactly sits in that unowned space beyond activation? Well, there are 4 distinct gaps.
The first missing layer is logistics readiness. And I don't mean theoretical capabilities. I mean, has someone physically walked through the cold chain from the apheresis collection all the way to infusion at this specific site to prove it actually works? Can they genuinely receive, store, and administer your product within your strict temperature and time windows? If not, you've got a problem.
Second is staff operational readiness. Sure, the training records exist in a binder somewhere, right? But let's be real, paper training does absolutely nothing to build the muscle memory required when a pharmacist has to handle a live CAR-T product under immense time pressure. Has the cell therapy coordinator actually processed a real order before? That's what really matters. Third, we have scheduling infrastructure. Cell and gene therapy requires this perfectly synchronized scheduling across apheresis, manufacturing, and infusion. It's a delicate dance. So does the site have the systemic architecture to manage this, or are they going to default to their standard oncology workflows and just completely misalign your manufacturing slots?
And fourth is patient navigation readiness. Managing the CGT patient journey isn't just standard nursing. It requires an entire systemic approach. The site has to coordinate a super complex, documented journey from leukapheresis consent right through bridging therapy monitoring, all the way to infusion prep. Each of these 4 layers can fail entirely on their own, and guess what? Not a single one of them appears on your standard activation checklist.
The activation trap. Let's look at the actual danger of assuming operations based purely on a completed compliance checklist.
Here's how this cascade typically plays out. It starts pretty harmlessly on day 1 when the sponsor marks the site active. Yay, right? But then, by day 14, an apheresis slot gets misaligned with the manufacturing window. This snowballs into day 21, inevitably at 6 p.m. on a Friday, where a cold chain handoff question pops up at the specialty pharmacy and literally nobody is there to answer it. By day 24, the infusion has to be rescheduled, throwing the bridging therapy out of sync and ending, of course, in a costly protocol deviation on day 25. The sponsor didn't inherit a ready site, they inherited a documented site, and the gap between those two things landed squarely on the very first patient.
Testing true operational readiness.
How do we equip you with a new diagnostic approach to prevent this nightmare cascade of deviations?
Before your next site goes active, you absolutely must ask this first diagnostic question. Can you walk me through your apheresis to infusion timeline for this specific product? If a site cannot confidently describe the specific sequence of events, the handoff points, the key contacts, their backup plans, their signed documents aren't going to save them. A document is not a timeline.
The second question is totally vital. Who is the single point of contact if there is a product release hold at 5 p.m. on a Friday? This is a very real non-theoretical CGT scenario. If their answer is simply that they'll escalate through, standard channels, you are in trouble. We all know standard channels completely vanish at 5:01 p.m. on a Friday.
The third question hits on actual experience. Has your cell therapy coordinator managed a CGT order from collection request to infusion before? This kind of real-world experience isn't captured anywhere on the standard checklist, but honestly, it's the sole difference between a smooth trial rollout and a protocol deviation that loses you a precious manufacturing slot.
And the fourth question tests a CGT-specific contingency. What is your scheduling backup plan if the patient's bridging therapy extends the infusion window by 72 hours? Without a bulletproof, well-thought-out backup plan for this highly probable delay, your product, and more importantly, your patient, are immediately at risk.
So the real secret sauce here is how you deploy these questions. You want to use them during a pre-enrollment confirmation call with your top enrolling sites. Frame them as preparation support, not like you're interrogating them. Use this conversation to uncover real-world operational gaps before enrollment even begins. Decision-ready data doesn't live in a binder. It lives in the conversations that should happen way before that activation is ever signed off. You're effectively turning a standard checklist into a dual-track readiness audit.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this core truth. Activation is a compliance milestone. Readiness is an operational state. For traditional small molecule trials, assuming readiness from compliance is pretty low risk. But for CGT, it's a massive liability. Your first patient is either going to be a successful proof of concept or the beginning of a deviation cascade. And that depends entirely on whether you rely on compliance paperwork or true, tested site readiness.
I want to leave you with this thought. Think about your own trials right now. What hidden operational gaps are lurking in your newly activated sites, just waiting for your first patient to arrive? Have you ever inherited an activated site that just completely fell apart on day one? Take these questions back to your teams, challenge the standard checklist, and start securing true operational readiness. Because at the end of the day, are you activating a site or are you just scheduling your first protocol deviation? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep pushing for better clinical operations.